Hi everyone, and welcome to my travel journal flip through and kind of process overview. So I'll talk through what my process is for travel journaling, and then we'll do a quick flip through of my 2023-2024 travel journal that is pretty much done. We'll see if I add one more trip there, if we do like one short weekend trip or something. But first, my process. So what I do is I am someone who travel journals while I'm on the trip. I don't do it after the fact, just because I don't really find myself setting aside time after the fact to complete the travel journals, and it becomes more of a chore. But during the actual trip itself, when we're in the evenings, like after dinner, before we go to bed, I usually journal for 30 minutes, an hour or something, to write down my thoughts of what we did that day and what I liked, what I didn't like, and pasting in some ephemera and some decorations. So this is a BaronFig softcover journal. It's about the same size as a B6. So this is a traveler's notebook, standard size. So you'll see it's a little shorter, a little wider. This is a B6 Midori, B6 Slim Midori notebook. So it's not like a standard size, and I'll talk about, well, I guess I'll talk now about why I don't really like this. It's a really nice size, and I like the soft cover. I like that it can bulk up and handle all my ephemera, but the paper just isn't working for me anymore. It's not fountain pen friendly. I don't really use fountain pens when I travel, but I would like the option, and it doesn't handle some markers and some stamps and things like that. It doesn't handle those well. It bleeds through. So this isn't what I'm gonna keep using. I think I'll probably move to a standard size TN, but we'll see when the time comes what I end up switching to. Other things that I bring when I travel. So usually I pack this and my sticker release paper into some sort of envelope. I just got this one from High Tide. It's a Nahe A5 size. So before I got this, I just used like a standard, like a clear zip folder. And this is gusseted, so it should be able to expand, but yeah, it fits everything. And then I would also put like ephemera in here, and there's a back pocket as well. So I just collect all my ephemera for the day and add it to my notebook that evening, or maybe the next evening, whenever I have time. So like I said, this is a TN standard size insert. It's sticker release paper, which is really useful. I try and keep it full of just whatever random kind of leftover sticker sheets and PET tape that I've cut out, and sticker flakes. If I know we're going on a certain type of trip, like a more outdoorsy trip, I'll try and add stickers that are more outdoorsy. If we're going to like New York and I have some New York stickers, I'll add those in there. But generally it has the same kind of stuff, and it just has a variety of random things that people have sent me or I've gotten through a different Happy Mail that I want to use up. And then I also have this Superior Labor pouch that holds my writing utensils. So I usually bring a couple of markers, usually these Pentel Fude Touch, and then I'll bring like a ballpoint pen, a Uni Jetstream, something like that. And then my other travel journal accessories, I have a glue stick. This is the Elmer's glue one that you get as a kid. It works okay. And I have my travel scissors. I don't remember what brand these are, but they're really useful, really compact, and I haven't had any issues going through security with them. They're not like the most, precise or most comfortable. Oh, they're from Plus. The brand is Plus. But they're very convenient. And then I also have this, which I got from a Stationery Selection box. This bag is also from Stationery Selection, and it has little washi sample rolls. And it's so nice because it's about the same size, as a pen, and it can fit in here. So I just keep some kind of neutral washi tapes on here. And the way that it works is it has these little dowels on there. So you just wrap your washi tape around it, and then you stick the dowels in here. and feed the washi tape through. Whoop, this goes this way. And you can keep an extra one in the handle like this. Put this back together, maybe. Okay, I'll do that afterwards. So that's what I bring. And as we're on the trips, I try and collect ephemera and stickers to add to my journal. Like I said, I do it that evening while we're on the trip. I've gone through a progression of travel journaling, starting all the way from when I was a kid. My mom and I would do kind of the traditional scrapbooking where, you know, you print out pictures, you paste them in. This is all after the trip in the big like 10 by 10 or 12 by 12 books. And that continued for a couple trips. And then when I was like a teenager, I think I would just bring like a notebook and write things down, like what we did, without just like a list of what we did. And then I started adding a little bit more detail, adding a little bit more ephemera, and now I'm like trying to do a good mix of ephemera and decoration, but then also like still a lot of writing, because that's the important part for me. I don't add any photos. It's just not something I've ever felt the need to do. I'm not gonna bring like a printer with me on the trip. That's just like a little bit too much work for me. And I've never had the desire to like after the fact go and print photos. So the photos, for some reason they're like separate in my mind from my travel journal. But this is the cover. I've decorated with stickers that we've gotten. Some of them aren't actually related to travel, they're just random, but we went to a lot of like national parks this year, so lots of stickers for national parks. And usually if I'm traveling, like if we're going on a trip, I'll take all these bigger pieces out just so they don't get lost or damaged. This is going to be the insert, so this travel journal isn't quite done, but there's one other trip that I didn't list here. So there's 5 trips, most from 2024, a couple from 2023. So the first one is Cancun. This is a Staedtler marker, and you'll see on this next page it bled through. So that's one of the reasons I'm not really enjoying these notebooks anymore. And this is one where you'll kind of see my progression as we flip through the book, but on this trip, it was mostly just me writing, okay, here's what we did this day. It was an all-inclusive resort in Cancun, so we weren't doing too much. It was mostly eating, sitting at the beach. And then I went in after the fact and added all these stickers. So you can tell that they're very tacked on at the end. And there also wasn't that much opportunity for ephemera. The only piece I got was this Secrets like memo pad piece of paper from the resort, from the hotel and resort. So it's a lot of writing. I probably talked about like what food I liked the most, the weather, like there really wasn't much going on because this was a relaxing trip. And then, like I said, the ephemera or the stickers and decoration were added after the fact, not during the trip. But as we go on further and further, I realized that's when I got my sticker release book and started bringing it with me so that I could incorporate things better. The next trip is California. I always try and have a cover page, even though they're not the prettiest, just to kind of highlight, this is the start of a new trip. And if we did a longer trip, like a 2-week trip, I'm wondering if I would try and keep that all into one notebook, which I did a few times in my past, but recently we go on like these, 4 or 5 day trips, maybe a week. So it doesn't make sense to have like an entire notebook just for that trip. This is Tombow markers, and the paper did handle those better. So there's a little bit more ephemera on this trip. I had my sticker release book, so I added decoration as we went. There's the ephemera for like the hotel that we were at. This was a pretty cool hotel. These washi tape with the days of the week are from a stationery selection box. And then just a lot more writing. Like, it is hard for me to find ephemera because unless it like literally says Santa Monica Pier, I don't always like keep it. I'm trying to be better about keeping kind of the more abstract things, like even if it's just like a brochure that looks cool, it doesn't necessarily have to be for one of the places we went to. Because yeah, this page is just a wall of text. I like how this one turned out more. And then this is a matchbox. Or match, yeah. And I really liked the artwork on it. We ate at the restaurant. And then the national parks, like in Joshua Tree, they have stamps. And they usually have little pieces of paper that you can stamp on, which is really nice. So business cards. But still, you know, more ephemera than, more decoration than Cancun. But still, you know, mostly text. Here's where I get a little better about it with this cool house tour we did in Palm Springs called the House of Tomorrow. And they had a lot of cool, like, floor plans and brochures and things related to it. But I didn't know what to do with, like, this fact sheet, for example, where it has, like, all these fun facts and it has, like, a cool floor plan of the tour that you did. And so I want to keep this, but I only had one copy, so I wasn't sure what to do with it, so I just tuck it in here. So that's something I'm still trying to work through, is how to incorporate those pieces like better. And then more from Joshua Tree. We did some hikes. And then more from Palm Springs. These are from brochures. This is a map from either a brochure or like a magazine. And I try to highlight where we stayed and where we went, but it's kind of hard to highlight it so that it stands out, especially in like a colorful map like this. So that's another thing I'm trying to be better about. And then at the end here, I just tacked these in from the Joshua Tree National Park from their brochure, because they have maps and really cool artwork in a lot of the national park brochures, which were really great for us journalers. And on the map, I highlighted, this one looks better than the Palm Springs one, but I highlighted where the route we took as we drove, and then kind of highlighted with the little stars where we stopped to take little hikes. Okay, this next one is out of order because this is one trip where I didn't journal during the trip because it was a group trip and there was a lot going on. But it was just a few days in Fredericksburg, which is a small town in Texas that's known as like a German settlement town, and they also have wineries there, so it's a great little like weekend trip for people that are nearby in Texas. So I like the way that this came out with the German, you know, the Lederhosen and stuff, and this is the German, one of the restaurants there, but it does have this huge blank space that I didn't know how to incorporate, or how to cover it. And then the other thing, there's a National Pacific War Museum, World War II, in Fredericksburg, because one of the admirals, Admiral Nimitz, is from there. So they have a really cool museum there with some planes, and they describe all of the battles and things. And at least in school in the US, like where I grew up, they didn't really talk a lot about the Pacific part of World War II. It's mostly focused on the European part and Germany and the Holocaust. So it's really interesting to get the other side and what was going on, you know, on the other side of the world. And my grandfather fought in World War II. I'm half Filipino and he fought. And so it was really cool to learn more about it. And then of course we went to a vineyard because there's good vineyards in Fredericksburg. Then the next one is Washington and Oregon. You'll see I messed up. I don't know if you tried to white it out. These stickers, so this is a case where I knew we would be doing a lot of like outside stuff, so I had these red panda and raccoon stickers from Sticky Club, and I made sure to pack those for the trip. And I really like how this spread came out with Portland. I had this map that I probably got from like the hotel or something. I added this memo pad sheet from Sticky Club, and just kind of pointed out where we were in Portland. So much better visually than some of my other spreads. This one's another one that still I couldn't quite make it work. We went to the Japanese garden, which was really pretty, and it had a really cool map and brochure, but I wasn't sure how to incorporate everything I wanted to keep from the brochure. So I just tucked in one page here. But this is probably one where I should have done like a tip in and like you fold open and then have all the writing, but you live and learn. And then we went to this tea maker that's based, Smith Tea Maker. It's based in Portland. We got tea flights, and these are two of our favorites. Well, my favorites at least. And they give you, with each tea flight, you choose 3 teas, and they give you like a little card with all the information. It's like the size of a playing card. And I thought they were really cute, and I wanted to keep them for my notebook. I almost just stole them, but then at the last minute I felt guilty, and I just asked, like, can I keep these? And they were like, yes, absolutely. So I'm glad I asked, because now I don't have to feel guilty about it, and they were so nice there. And this is from a really good breakfast sandwich place we went to. This was like the paper that they put it in, or they wrapped it in. So I feel like you can tell on this trip I'm doing a better job of actively looking for and keeping ephemera to add to my notebook, which makes it look cool and not just like a wall of text. And then there's more stamps from when we went to the Columbia River Gorge and Multnomah Falls. Someone will have to tell me. And then the next day we drove from Portland along the coast to Washington. We were to continue our trip. We spent the next few days in Washington, and we made a lot of little stops along the way. And then we go in Washington. We were near Olympic National Park. We stayed in Forks, which is where Twilight, the book and movie, are based in. So there's a lot of like Twilight ephemera, or not ephemera, but a lot of Twilight stuff going on there. That's one of their biggest sources of tourism still, even though the book came out in like 2009. So I was surprised that it was still going strong, but they were like, yeah, more than ever. It's still a big draw for them. So similar to Joshua Tree, there's the national parks have really cool maps and artwork in their brochures. So I always steal those, try and cut them up. And I highlighted where we drove. It's a huge park, and it's you can see it's kind of near Seattle, but it's a huge park. So we had to spend multiple days going to the various locations. Went to the Hoh Rainforest, which is the only temperate rainforest in the United States, maybe North America. So that was really cool. We saw banana slug, which is, that's I think the only place you can see them is like Oregon and Washington. And then the second day we went and hit all these other little locations around the park. And then just me talking about Forks and what we did. We stayed in a bed and breakfast. So and we watched the Twilight movies while we were there, so that was a lot of fun. And I added this after the fact because I had forgotten, but there were these really cool trees there that looked like they were made of pipe cleaners, and it literally looked like this. I'd never seen it. So it's called a monkey puzzle tree. So just adding some doodles of that. This was when we got back to Portland. This is the hotel we stayed at. And then these are some brochures that I collected that I didn't want to cut up because they were just too pretty. They had some nice artwork. And then this is the national park brochure with the big map and some information and artwork of what animals and things you can see there. So I just tucked those in here. And then the last trip is Ohio. This my sad little cover page. It needs some love. So this is a case where I probably should go out and print a photo just to give it something else to look at. But we went to visit, I have family that lives in Ohio, and we went to an Ohio State game, and then we also drove up to Cleveland to go to the national park there, which I didn't realize until I was looking that there's a national park in Ohio. But yeah, we went to, there's a prehistoric ceremonial mound system near central Ohio, and they were built over 2,000 years ago. These huge, like, they're almost like sculptures in the ground that are kind of aligned to different astrological and moon settings. They're called the Newark Earthworks if you want to look it up, but it's just interesting that it's this really old historic thing. It's the only UNESCO World Heritage Site in Ohio, and it's just kind of in the middle of nowhere, and you wouldn't expect to find it there, but it's interesting to learn about. And then our hotel key, and then this is we went to the Ohio State game. I tried to draw the O. My dad went to Ohio State, so I'm a little bit of a fan, but I can understand why people hate them. And we went to Cuyahoga National Park, which is near Cleveland. We drove around, tried to see birds, tried to do a little bit of hiking. We got some good ice cream. And then this spread I really like. This is from Cuyahoga, their map. And I highlighted where all we went and then added some cutouts of artist like renderings of those areas. And then this is also the little like map. It used to be a really polluted river that they used, like there was a canal system in the 1800s, I guess, early 1900s. So it was really polluted, a lot of industry, and they've been working for decades to clean it up, and it's really cool. They've had a lot of like wildlife return because of the cleanup efforts. They have beavers and a lot of birds and otters, and like here there's the beaver marsh, and this used to be like a salvage junkyard for car parts, and they were trying to remove that, and at the same time the beavers flooded the river, and so they created this marsh, which is really good for wildlife, viewing wildlife. So it's just really cool how they've tried to preserve and take care of this area that's really close to Cleveland, which is another cool thing that's so close to the city. And then just another one of their maps, because they have the cool artwork and the maps. But that is my travel journal for 2023-24. We'll see what I end up doing in my next iteration of this and what that looks like, because it's an ongoing kind of learning, process. There's a progression for me. But thank you for listening. Bye.